evening, everyone. Thank you to everyone who is in attendance here in our auditorium, and also thank you to all the ones who are listening online. I'd like to call the meeting of Monday, June the 14th to order. And to begin this meeting, I need an approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Wimberly. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, now if we could just have a moment of reflection, please. Thank you very much. If you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next on our agenda is our school highlights, and I'm assuming that's going to be Ms. Rayner.
Thank you, Chairman Hughes, members of the board, Mr. Pye. We are delighted tonight to have Mr. Tom Hudson, the Executive Director of the South Carolina School Improvement Councils, here with us to make a special presentation to Flowertown Elementary for their extraordinary accomplishment that was recognized this year. And so I'm not going to go any further. I will let Mr. Hudson make this introduction of the award and recognizing some of the leadership team at Flowertown.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Rayner, and certainly thanks to you, Madam Chair, Superintendent Pye, board members. I'm very pleased to be down with you. This is we're starting to unwind and come hopefully out of our social distancing. We for the last couple of years had not convened an annual meeting in the spring as we usually do to honor our Dick and Tunky Roddy Award winner for School Improvement Council Excellence. I'm Tom Hudson, I'm Executive Director of the South Carolina School Improvement Council, and I am here to present to one of your SICs this award for 2021. So I'd like to welcome up, if you could come up, we have Principal Carrie Ball Hodge, SIC Chair Mallory Shattuck, and SIC members Jessica Farnsworth and Ashley Helslop. Now, Flowertown, they say third time is a charm. We announced this in an online awards ceremony May 1st, and Flowertown Elementary SIC was one of our 5 finalists for 2020, one of our 5 finalists for 2019, and again, one of the finalists for 2021, but this year has garnered the Riley Award for their SIC. And I had the opportunity to present them with their finalist plaque from last year, which we are finally just able to present to them, as well as an award banner that they can display in the school. So thank you for your district support of school improvement councils, and particularly thank you to you folks for the work that your School Improvement Council has done for several years, and particularly for this last year to win this award. So congratulations.
Mr. Hudson, I would just like to thank you for making the trip down to recognize us tonight. I'm sure we all have very busy schedules this time of year, but it means the world to us that you took the time out of your day to celebrate us and all the great things that are happening at the Hive. And we stand behind our mission and vision here, which we said when we put collaboration over competition, our children win every time. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. I know you guys, the board, y'all have had a hand in helping us and supporting our SIC. So thank you again. Thank you to Ms. Farnsworth. Thank you to Ms. Heslop, who started us on this journey. Thank you, Ms. Shattuck, who is our wonderful SIC chair, and to all of our community support. So thank you again.
And Mr. Hudson also, as a part of their mementos for this achievement, brought a huge banner. So when you go by Flowertown, be looking for it. I'm sure they'll have it up by in the morning. And just again, for Flowertown's achievement, I think what is so meaningful for all of us in the school district is they have truly embraced not just parent engagement, but community engagement. We hear so much about that in this day and time, and they have truly made it work at that school. So thank you all very much. Next, it's my pleasure to invite Patsy Pye to come forward. The district is extremely proud, again, for a program, Administrative Interns Leadership Academy, that Ms. Pye was very instrumental in creating the format for that program, as well as the curriculum, which has in years past won national recognition by the National School Boards Association. And it truly is a way that we grow our own leaders. So at this time, Ms. Pye.
Good evening. It is certainly a pleasure to come before you tonight to recognize our Leadership Academy participants, our administrative interns, completing the 2020-21 school year. The Leadership Academy was a vision actually started by the school board back in 2009 with two former board members, the late Bill Rees, who was the former superintendent, and Dr. Beebe. They had read about leadership academies across the state and wanted our district to get involved in training and growing our own leaders. This initiative, however, had to be implemented on a shoestring budget. So as you know, nothing else has really changed. We still operate on a shoestring budget. So Dr. Beebe and Mr. Rees actually asked me if I would develop a program and if I would implement the program. So I went all over the state looking for a program already implemented. Could not find one, so actually went back and started writing one. So that will just tell you a little bit how I got involved with the program. The purpose of the Leadership Academy is, at that time, was to give our large schools, back in 2009, they were very large, and we had a lot of principals that were near retirement age. So the district looked at how we can give more help on the shoestring budget, so they decided that we would put interns into the schools to assist the schools on a teacher salary. And this would accomplish a training program to grow our own leaders. So at that particular time, we started the program in 2009 to provide extra help for the large schools, but to also grow leaders and provide them with daily experiences at the school level under a skilled principal. In other words, learn by doing. They were actually placed in the schools to actually do the job. Most of our new assistants in the past had just been thrown in a job, and it was kind of like sink or swim with no support. But we wanted to give these people the experiences and the training. So the applicants, they applied for the job, the internship, and they were selected by the district staff. The district staff put lots of time and effort in placing the interns with skilled principals because they want them to have the correct modeling in order to do the job. So we wanted them to become instructional leaders, which had a main focus on student learning and student achievement, not just doing discipline in a school. So when we place interns, we actually give them a framework. And I wrote the program around the 10 standards for the principal's evaluation in South Carolina, plus added a lot of additional things into it because I felt like they actually needed to experience all aspects of leadership. And during that tenure in the school for the year, they are also given monthly training done by our district staff. So they're not only learning things that relate directly back to their job, they're getting trained in the Dorchester District 2 way of doing things. And the Leadership Academy has given many of our future leaders opportunities to develop skills and provide training and professional development in areas of leadership. And at this time, I would certainly like to thank the district people that have been instrumental in giving that staff development. And I would also like to thank our principal mentors for providing support, coaching, and the board for giving me opportunity to actually work with these aspiring leaders. And what a year to be an intern. I thought, you know, I cannot believe we're doing a leadership academy during a pandemic year. But what great experiences that these interns have learned this year. They have had to go in. Technology, I mean, they have been almost in charge of their virtual academies in their schools. They have supported teachers, they have supported parents, and most of them just come from the classroom, so they still have not lost touch with the teaching, what it takes in that classroom and dealing with parents, and they have spent an enormous amount of time doing that. They have learned and they have grown so much, and I have really enjoyed working with them this year, and I really will like to say to them that they have really stepped up to the challenges that this year has really brought on, and they have just done an outstanding job. Over the years, we have not implemented the Leadership Academy every year because it's a budget item. And when you go to take master teachers out of a classroom, you kind of have to think about it twice. And a lot of the principals, they don't really want to give up their master teachers to be trained, but these are people that are interested in going into administration. So we are laying that path for them to chart their course. Over the 6 years that the Leadership Academy has actually been in existence, we have trained over 77 participants. And I am proud to say that over 98% of them have gone on in the area of school administration, and many have gone and are now at the district level. And it's been fun this year to work with the interns because most of the principals I've worked with have been interns themselves. So that has really been great to see that full circle. Great leaders, it's been said that great leaders are like the best conductors. They reach beyond the notes to reach the magic in the players. And I think leaders in our schools is critical. We all know that schools with leadership, outstanding leadership, are outstanding schools. And thank you again for letting me be a part of this. I really appreciate it. And this time I would like to recognize each of our 13 interns, and all of them this year have been at the elementary level, which we are shorthanded at that level with one assistant. And it has been valuable to their schools to have those helping hands with principals that had to change their schedules multiple times. So it has been a great learning year for everyone, and I thank you again for your support. At this time, I would like to call their names and have them come forward. Rebecca Malinowski at Beach Hill Elementary. Morlisa Sapp Cords, and she is not with us tonight. She had another engagement. She was at Sayers. Jamie McDowell, Eagle Nest Elementary. Oh, Jamie's not here tonight either. So. We also had an AP in our Leadership Academy this year. That was the first, she actually had been an AP for several years, but she was out of district. And she came to every one of our professional development sessions. And we do invite all of our new first-year principals or first-year APs to come to the sessions. Kimberly Golden, Oak Brook Elementary. Erica Mazik, Sand Hill. Taryn Floyd, High Elementary. Patrick Majors, Austin Bailey. Shamir Conyers, Newington Elementary. Charles Sanders, Flowertown. Carissa Baisley, Knightsville. Lindsay Halleck, Somerville Elementary. And Melissa Mitchum at Reeves Elementary. And Sagina Canty at Span. And I have asked Mrs. Canty to just say just a few words about what the Leadership Academy has meant to her this year at Span Elementary. Gina.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Pye. My name is Sagina Canty, and I am a member of the Leadership Academy this year under the leadership of Ms. Patsy Pye, as well as Shane Sanford and Ms. Marcy Brown at Span Elementary School. I am humbled and honored to be given the opportunity to speak to you this evening about what the experience in the Leadership Academy has meant to me. Our district vision states that DD2 aims to provide all members of our district family with an environment that permits them to do their personal best. I would like to take a few moments to speak on how this opportunity has allowed me to achieve at my optimum level. This year, more than any other year in my 20-plus year career, has inspired me more than ever as an educator and ignited a renewed passion in education and my desire to ensure that all students are a priority. If I had to pick a quote to embody my year, it would be, "Tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will understand." This year, working as an administrative intern and participating in the many hands-on experiences has allowed me to grow and stretch myself both professionally and personally. My internship has exposed me to different aspects of school leadership, such as effective management, instructional leadership, school safety, and many others, all while experiencing the effects of a global pandemic and new norms almost daily. I have been blessed to have great people supporting and coaching me on the school and district level while navigating the ever-changing environment around us.
While I gained a variety of experiences and skills, the impact of having the opportunity to learn from seasoned professionals gave me strong leadership to look up to and a goal to work towards as I continue to grow and develop my personal leadership style. It helped me to realize the areas I excelled at and those I needed to develop more. I was able to try out new tools, learn new skills along the way, and leverage my mistakes to motivate me to improve for my students, my school, and most importantly, myself. I realized that my work as an intern had an impact on the school, the administrative team at SPAN, as well as the district, which gave me a huge sense of pride. My participation in the DD2 Leadership Academy, which is a nationally award-winning program, has renewed my confidence in my ability to walk within my purpose as a leader with Team Dorchester and the necessary experiences and guidance to continue to make an impact in the lives of teachers, students, families, and our entire community. I would like to take an opportunity to thank Shane Sanford, Marcy Brown, and the fabulous faculty and staff at Span Elementary for always reminding me that my success was their success. I would like to thank Ms. Pye for always sharing her time, don't know where she's at, for always sharing her time, her knowledge, and most importantly, her advice. She has indeed been a rock for me this year. Her leadership has made my internship a positive and rewarding experience, and I am forever grateful. Thank you to DD2, the school board, and Mr. Pye for again recognizing the importance of growing aspiring leaders within our district, as well as believing in, supporting, and nurturing the growth and achievements of us as well. Thank you.
Thank you again. We really appreciate your support, and this has been a fabulous program. We've grown a lot of good leaders in this program. Thank you very much. Thank you all so much for a job well done.
You just stand there 1 minute. I think I maybe can get a photo from this one. In the month of May, one of the many national observances that take place within school communities was National School Nurse Day, which we did celebrate within our schools. But at this time, I'd like to invite Amanda Santamaria, our district nurse coordinator, to recognize some of representatives of our fantastic school nurse corps. Amanda.
Good evening. In 1902, the first ever school nurse, Lena Rogers, reduced absenteeism rates by helping her students and their families manage contagious diseases. Now, over a century later, school nurses are continuing to make an impact on their students, staff, and local communities. Contrary to popular belief, school nursing is not just ice, slice, and Band-Aids. School nurses serve as a critical resource for students, ensuring that they are ready for learning by managing complex chronic conditions, identifying and addressing mental health issues, leveling the field on health disparities, promoting healthy behaviors, connecting families to healthcare providers, handling medical emergencies, and now navigating through a global pandemic that has changed the face of education and healthcare. Now, more than ever, we appreciate the contributions that our school nurses make to their schools, their students, and their communities, and we're proud to recognize them on School Nurses Day. Unfortunately, our nurses weren't able to be here tonight. They had other obligations, but we do hope they're watching from home, and we hope that they know how much we appreciate their hard work and dedication to our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rayner. We also had one other on the list of the school highlights, and that was our District Teacher of the Year. And fortunately, they had an 8th grade drive-through. They're going to high school, so she was unable to make it. Miss Samantha Hoffman, she is an 8th grade teacher at Austin Middle School. So she will be coming at our next meeting, and she'll be presenting at our next meeting for that, so. Okay, next on the agenda is public comments on agenda items, and we have no public comments on agenda items, so we're gonna move on to the approval of the minutes. Board members, in your package, you should have received the meeting minutes of May 24th, 2021. I need a motion to approve those. Motion made by Mr. Mitchum, seconded by Mr. Guthrie. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Next is our superintendent's report. Mr. Pye.
I got several things. Let me get the smaller things out of the way so when talking about the other situation we talked about in our workshop, I'll be free to make sure if you have questions, I can address those. I wanted to remind everyone that our graduation is coming up Friday. We have an unusual situation over a lot of our neighboring districts. We have 3 high schools graduating the same day. And our 3 high schools are in the top 9 or top 8 largest high schools in South Carolina. So we're the biggest. Somerville's the biggest at number 3. Fort Dorchester is Ashley Ridge is either 8th or 9th, and Fort Dorchester is the other one, 9th. So 3 in the top 9. I think that's pretty good. A lot of work goes into this. We're fortunate we're able to have it this year. The North Charleston Coliseum will be indoors. We will all have the sprinkler system to compete with that at Ashley Ridge this year. We do have to have the protocol still in place as we're still under so many different situations where we're trying to ensure the health of not only our students but our faculties and also our community. So those will be in place best we can assure them. This is not our place, so the security and all will be up to North Charleston to be able to try to address. But we want to make it a very dignified, wonderful situation. It will be streamed live, and you can record that and you keep up with for years to come. It's quite a keepsake that I wish I could go back to mine 50-something years ago and see that again. You have memories of it, and it may not even be even close to what it was. It fades over years, and it's a wonderful memory to have. We will be, we heard today, a student emailed me, and I think some others had mentioned throughout the day, word going around is that the graduation procession will not be. Last year we did not have a proceed-in because it was in the stadiums, but down underneath the Coliseum floor on the bottom is a narrow hallway that goes completely around, and schools, especially Somerville High, lines up completely around there, and the kids naturally cluster for as much as 1 hour ahead of time, and this is not considered to be right for us to do. So I think that came up as a safety issue, but in talking about that, we see no reason to interfere with the entrance, the processional as we've always had. So the students will come in as they always have. Like at Fort, they come in under the swords, and the other high schools, they have the honor folks there, and they guide them through, led by the superintendent and some of my staff members in the school board. We lead it off, and the faculty comes in behind the student body, and it's a wonderful way for the public to recognize the whole school family. So that I wanted to clarify that is indeed going to happen the way it has always happened, with the exception of last year. So that's out of the way. The next thing is someone mentioned the workshop. I tell you I would do it here. You asked me about our summer programs. We have 5,800 students in summer programs already signed up, and they're still signing up. So that's quite a good bit. Of those programs you see up there listed, you see them by number. And of course, elementary summer reading camp, 920, that's an elementary program. ESY, special ed at several levels there. Speech camp, mostly elementary. Middle school remediations, middle school reading math camp. High school summer summer reading camp. Then you got Gateway, which is elementary starts. You got the CTE manufacturing program, that's at Somerville High School, and the agricultural program at Ashley Ridge. Extended Day Campus Elementary with 522, Title I Family Summer Programs, also elementary 300, summer technology programs, that's various grade levels. Apparently, or approximately 1,700 high schoolers will be in some type of summer program, 1,300 middle school programs, around 2,800 elementary students. That's so far, and this is a record year for us. And it is free transportation, food, and the registration is all free on Dorchester District 2, as we're using some of our previous COVID monies we received early on to guarantee that we try to catch some of the kids up as much as we can. That's an obligation that I feel that we must not take lightly, and I'm hoping that more and more kids will sign up as they see this as a chance to make some progress so that next year's normal year will be very normal and we can move forward like we've always done and maybe even get ahead of what we've done in the past as we're putting so many things in place to help us to navigate which has been stormy waters. So with that said, our workshop today was on getting back to school through the ESSER monies and the ESSER program that we're involved in. It's the development of a reading learning plan, a plan to get back to school in 2021 for this year. We did a plan back in July, and we've stuck to that plan. We've had criticism on both sides of the fence that we were too easy, we were too hard, didn't do this. The plan was based on the health data that we had early on, and that's all we had. Then we were able to get additional health information from Medical University and from Trident Medical Hospital and from some other sources. Then we started our daily log of what was going on in our school versus what was going on in our community. And we found that our school did not mirror our community. The school district was actually safer and we had better numbers than were being produced outside. And of course, those numbers are progressively getting better now. The last couple of weeks, we have fallen in the low bracket, which many people said, you've got a plan that says we have to be at low to do anything, and we're never going to be at low. Well, stand to be corrected. We're at least our third or fourth week, and we've got the entire 8-week summer to try to continue to shore up that gap. And I think with that and the programs we're putting in place, it could very well lead to, or should lead to, a very normal school year. And those plans will be coming out throughout the summer as we solidify the various things that we need to be doing, as we have to present a plan to the federal government, but we also are presenting one to our community and to our staff members and folks so that people can make decisions about what they think they need to be doing, and hopefully it will be right here in Dorchester too. Our virtual academy was overall a big hit. We had over 9,000 students in it. Next year we only have about 700 signed up. And so we're serving our elementary through the Low Country Consortium that's made up of a group of districts in the area, and we're working together on the elementary. Each of our schools, different than most places, we're having our own program, very much like we had this year at each of the high schools and each of the middle schools. It'll be done out of that school with our teachers in most cases. Now, we ran into an unusual course that we don't have an instructor for, or we don't have enough students. We'll put all the students from the 3 high schools and middle schools together to form a class, and that could be taught by an outside group that offers specialized programs when a district can't offer it, so that we can offer our students whatever they possibly need for their graduation and their individual plans. So with that said, let me just give you a brief summary of kind of where we got to today in the workshop, to how we got to where we are now. Spring, summer of 2020, we developed our return to in-person plan, and it was based on all the health situations. All this is on our website, but after tonight, we're going to have a more condensed version of everything that I'm saying, so you don't have to have the other unless you want to go back and trace how things happened, when it happened, and the variations and the various modifications that was made. But we followed the plan throughout the last 15 months. But we remain flexible, and we did some changes within the plan to try to keep us moving forward to that all-important face-to-face when possible. We adapted and modified all along the way. We presented updates to the board and the public monthly, and we kept information current posted on the website. We moved to full face-to-face in mid-February for elementary students and March 1st for all secondary 6 through 12 students. Basically, we've done very well overall. We've made some great gains in a short period of time. We watched our numbers in schools and community, and they have been very stable as far as the disease part is out there. The virus seems to be under control, and our district has navigated that quite well. We've stayed the course, true to our plan as we promised people. People made job decisions, they made school decisions on what we told them we were going to try to do. And like I said, we've had a couple bumps where we made some adjustments, and all in all, we feel those have all worked well to get us where we are today. One of the things we did is we quickly adapted to the governor's executive order when he came out overnight, basically allowing parents to opt their child out from wearing a face covering. That was just put out there, and of course it mentioned a waiver, and then when we started letting people bring us notes, we were told, no, you couldn't do that. It had to be that particular waiver form. Nothing could be crossed out, nothing could be changed. That's the governor's order. And so we adhere to that. And as of today, we have 5,447 students that have opted out, which is 22% of our student body. 78% of our student body continue to wear a face mask. So it is still a heavy majority in that tone. And that was kind of a surprise after that came out, because we were hearing, large numbers probably would happen, but people are still very cautious, and I think they're trying to navigate to see how this is going, and so far so good. So every time there's a loosening, we don't see a jump in the numbers, which says we're moving in the right direction at the right speed to make sure we're not overdoing it. And the summer just happens to come at a wonderful time where we are in this forward movement, because it does advance it 8 weeks that we still have to watch what is happening with the current situation that's out there. And of course, vaccinations were a wonderful thing, but again, large numbers did not get vaccinated. We're showing around approximately 60% of our staff is vaccinated. That means 40% are not. And of course, it's not down to young children and even the high school kids who are of age to do it. We don't have any way of knowing the numbers. It's none of our business. We're not supposed to ask. But again, we're not hearing that a lot of people opted to do that. So that's still an uncertainty out there. And so, we don't put all our eggs in that basket, because that's something we have zero control of. Then it comes to these ESSER funds. That's the federal money. Along the way, we've received 2 rounds thus far, and a 3rd round has been allocated but not yet received. These are federal funds designed to help districts financially with the impacts of COVID and getting kids back to school. Neither of the first 2 rounds required public input. The 3rd one's going to require public input, and that's why we had the workshop tonight to begin to formulate how is that going to look as we gather and navigate this, so that we're ready for that first deadline. For us will be August 24th. So in the summer and the fall, ESSER 1, which we call CARES funding, was implemented. It was to help districts address immediate safety concerns. And then the fall winter ESSER 2 came on, which meant to continue providing the districts the aid to maintain a healthy safety protocols. And then it had added emphasis on learning loss by allowing the use of the funds to be used for academics. Various programs were up for that. Then the spring and summer of 2021, ESSER 3, and that's going on as we speak. It's the most recent round of federal funding that's coming our way. It's going to be at the tune of around $41 million. Like any federal money, it's not a free gift. It comes with strings attached. There are 15 things on this one. There were 12 on the very first one, and I think it was 15 on the second one, around 15 on this 3rd one. And all the safety things are still there, but they've added a lot more on the learning loss, how we're going to make up for the academic side of it. It tells us we have to spend at least 20% of that $40 million has to be spent to address learning loss. We have to have a spending plan, we have to have an instructional plan, and they should be linked together with the same common goals. So we have developed a timeline for obtaining that. They've accepted in Columbia and the federal government that we can use our instructional plan that we devised back last July. That's still in effect with its modifications, and of course, there could be more and should be more modifications as early as this summer. I anticipate that happening. So they're allowing us to keep that in place until November 24th. That plan will then have to be resubmitted with the changes that we've made and where we're going with that. And hopefully, my goodness, that many months away, we ought to have a pretty good handle on things. So we've developed the timeline. It's on the board up here. We submitted this to the board as a first draft. Certainly, we've got to get input. This is only to show how we're going to get the input. And from the inputs, we're going to develop the things that have the deadlines on them. And as you can see, June 16th, that's when we're going to open the ESSER 3 spending plan survey and be on the website for all of our citizens in the community to participate in. And it'll be on there until July 9th. So it'll be on there a good 3 weeks or more. It'll be there that you can check off the various things that we're asking for input for. So that should be easy and simple to do in fairly short amount of time devoted to it. Then on the 19th, we want to have a board workshop where we will take in public input that night to share with the draft plan that we bring to you based on all the comments we got from the survey. And we were asking the board members, that you be in on that so you know what all that is that you've heard. You'll be there at night to hear, oohs and ahs, why are we doing this, don't like this, why can't we do this? And you can hear the replies the administration gives back to, what the defining criteria is from the federal government. Hopefully by then, we'll have more definitive information. It's pretty general now, and I look for that to tighten up as we get further into the situation. Remember, this is a national program. This is not for Somerville. This is not for South Carolina. This is the whole nation. We have 50% or more of school districts in the United States that haven't been to school yet. They're still at home learning through technology, half. So some of them are all kinds of places. We have some who never closed. We have everything in between. And so this is how the government is suggesting that they're trying to get us back to solid school programs with everybody being so different. So they're allowing the states a lot of flexibility within the structure they give us. Then you have flexibility, and that's what we're supposed to submit the plan showing how we would like to have flexibility using their criteria if we don't use it exactly as they have prescribed that we do. And we develop a spending plan. And that will be, so the 19th through the 30th, after the board workshop, we will have an open website for, again, not a survey, but now public comments, where you can comment on anything on the draft plan. The draft plan will be there. You can say, I don't see any need for number 3. I don't see any need for number 16. What about 17? Can we extend that and do even more? You have a chance to add or take away from the things that you see on there. And then, of course, August the 9th, the board workshop again with public input. This is the third one, to update on proposed final ESSER 3 plans. That'll be when we put everything together. The board is there to try to help us to finalize what needs to happen. And it's during this workshop that we began to look at adding some in-person meetings at various community locations, and we'll do that and publicize those as states, locations decided. Probably do it before then. We'll actually take it out into the community to a couple of places where the meeting won't necessarily always be here. We'll try to get out in community areas where people have transportation issues and all that might can get here to give more opportunities for you. If you're not on vacation or at work, there'll be one of the workshops scheduled ahead of time that you can kind of mark as one that you plan to attend or to give information on. So that's where we are, and that deadline then is August 24th for the, we have to post that plan on the website and submit it to the State Department of Education, and it has to show input from the community. And then on no later than November the 24th, and we'll certainly do it before then, as we present an updated version of our instructional plan. And again, the two have to be linked together. They can't be two separate ones. They have to tie together and say the same thing. Every anticipation is being made at this point in time to have normal school. Now, I've had a dozen questions since I made that statement. I have no crystal ball. I'm not promising anything because I don't know how to promise it. I don't have a clue what tomorrow holds, just like I didn't know we were having a pandemic and I didn't know how to handle a pandemic. Nobody does. It's one of those things. So I've learned that when you're dealing with the federal government, you're dealing with the state, you don't go by what you first hear. There are lots of rumors. You have to watch, you have to ask lots of questions, and we call all the other school districts. We're listening to everybody, trying to figure out what's the best way to navigate this. And we're finding we're further ahead than other people, and that could be scary, because I think we have a ways to go. But our plan is to bring everybody back, hopefully, face-to-face, as normal as we can. Does that mean with masks and all? You know, right now we have the opt-out, and you have a right to wear a mask anytime, whether it's the pandemic or not. The rest of your life, you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. That's your right as an American citizen. But us mandating that, I think those days are coming to a fast halt, and I think that those are the areas that could be clarified between now and the opening of school, so you will have a clearer message. But right now, parents having a choice is still very prevalent as far as whether you wear the mask or you don't wear the mask. But things like going to the cafeteria, going to the library, attending your art music classes, those kinds of things, ball games, open attendance, those kinds of things, volunteers in the schools, visitors in the schools, we're hoping that those things will be brought back as we've always known them to be. So that is our plan. And we'll be working diligently all summer. And as we have updates and through all of our input sessions, we'll keep you all abreast of where we're going with that, answer questions, and hopefully some folks will have some great ideas as you have friends in other places that you talk to and relatives, and they may be sharing something uniquely great that we have not discussed, that we're open to suggestion, and we don't mind getting in a car and traveling to North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and visit a district that's doing something that maybe we would like to do, we need further input from. So with that said, any questions, board members? Did I leave something out? Ms. Wimberly?
One thing I just thought of, so are you going to have a certain individual or individuals or a task force, or who at the district level will be in charge of coordinating all this? Because it's a big undertaking, it sounds like.
Well, probably every member of my cabinet, and of course every school principal. That's what we've been relying on. I think it's too big for one person. But if we had one general contact, it will be Ms. Rayner. And I guess that Ms. Rayner and I, we're one, two-person department. So we would start it. We're also, now when you develop a task force of community, they don't have the wherewithal to do the things. They can give input, but as far as getting it done, it has to be somebody that has the time and knows how to do it, not just a volunteer. So, but we will be clarifying that as we go along also, making sure that it's not just dumped on one person, but not having so many people that we get fragmented and we can't make a decision. We got to get to moving on this.
Okay. And then one other thing I thought of is the survey, will that be emailed out, or will the notification be sent? How will we let people know that it's there besides just our
All right.
meeting?
Pat, you have that.
Ms. Wimberly, what our tentative plans are, and of course, in the next day, tomorrow, we'll be finalizing those, as it's going to be using a very simple survey platform, SurveyMonkey, that's easy for people to utilize. And then certainly we will put it up. I'll be sending out a press release, but more importantly, we'll be doing a Blackboard call, text, email to all of our parents. We'll do a global email to all of our employees. I'll be sending it to the town of Somerville, to Dorchester County government, to go on their websites. So we'll use our standard communication plan and networks to get the word out there. And what is so good about the timeline for this is it does allow for a number of weeks for people to participate. And something tells me the word will spread very fast. And of course, we'll use our PTAs and SICs as well.
Yeah.
Okay, board members, also, Mr. Pye asked in our workshop if you would kind of look at your calendars and see how these dates would fit into your calendars. Is everybody okay with with the dates, or is there a conflicting date or something that maybe we need to adjust this? Because he would like for all of us, obviously, to be there so we can hear everything that's being said, all the input that's being given and that kind of thing, so. Everybody is okay with those dates? I don't think this is something that we need a vote on, but I think you just needed a consensus on this, so, just wanted to make sure that we were good on it. Okay?
Because that should be on the website by this time tomorrow. We should have all this agreed upon and out as we start gathering that, and then the survey going out on the 16th, which is the day after tomorrow.
I just want to thank y'all for putting together the workshop too, because it answered questions, and we know it is constantly changing, but at least we know today everything you all know, and it helps us so much. So thank you for providing that workshop.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
That's all for me.
Okay, thank y'all very much, Mr. Pye. Board members, in your package, you should have received the personnel report, the resignations for 2020, 2021, as well as the recommendations for 21, 22. Is everybody okay with doing that in open session? Okay, I need a motion to approve those. Mr. Farnsworth made the motion, Ms. Crosby seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, next on the agenda is our new business and unfinished business, and we are going to begin that. We'll start off with the 2020 or 21-22 school calendar update and the proposed e-learning and inclement weather days. Ms. Rayner.
Thank you, Chairman Hughes. The calendar that the school board approved on March 8th is certainly the framework and very inclusive of all of our district calendar dates for next year, except at the time, as I believe Mr. Pye shared, we as an e-learning district, we're a part of that state program. Regulations as being a district participating in that program is that we must show and be approved as a part of the calendar 3 e-learning days. So we wanted to really be sure that there were days that would be functional, that would be helpful, that would support our instructional program. So we, of course, took it to principals, the cabinet, talked to a number of our groups, and the recommendations for the e-learning days would be October the 13th. And this suggestion was made from our high school principals and Ms. Radcliffe, because that day is a day that they do district-wide testing for ACT and that kind of thing. So they're very involved with that, and they felt it would be extremely helpful if it was an e-learning day. The second day, November 2nd, is of course Election Day. Even though it's not a general election, it's still, many of our schools are used as polling places. So this would allow us to have a safe environment for our students by them e-learning at home while this important event is taking place. The third one is March the 18th. That was selected because it is in the second quarter, and they felt like that might be a helpful time before testing began and certainly before spring break. So that was the third recommendation for the e-learning days. Along with that, our weather makeup day, should they be necessary, would be October the 22nd, then February the 18th, and again March the 18th. So those days are spread out throughout the calendar, and hope we don't have to use them, but that is the recommendation coming from district staff and our principals.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rayner. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Farnsworth.
March 18th, I'm just trying to understand that one a little bit better. So just the wording maybe on there is confusing. So
Yes.
is that will absolutely be an e-learning day?
Well, that's a good question. We did check with the State Department of Education about that for clarification, if e-learning days do indeed have to be used. They did clarify that if it is used in conjunction as a makeup day, It would only be utilized if that is truly a makeup day on March 18th. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just trying to figure out, because you said at the beginning, we have to have 3 e-learning
Correct.
days. So
Noted on the calendar, right.
that have to be indicated on the calendar.
Correct.
So, okay, so if we don't end up using that as an e-learning day, that's still okay.
That's correct. It's just like makeup days. We have to indicate them on the calendar, doesn't mean we have to take them. So it's kind of that scenario with they do allow one e-learning day to be utilized in that manner. I know it's confusing, but we'll try to explain it to our parents, but hopefully it won't be an issue.
Got it. Thank you.
Ms. Wimberly?
Do we know yet if we're going to have half-days, or is that discussion not happened yet, or?
Yeah, it very much, it has happened.
Okay.
And thank you for asking that. In fact, will be announced, we'll be releasing those dates before Wednesday because they wanted to, our principals and again, district staff, instructional staff, wanted to be sure they were well-planned for obvious reasons for planning for teachers. So at this point, the elementary principals and staff are proposing 8 early dismissal days. And then secondary, they have come to support 4 of those 8 for elementary will be used for middle and high schools for that very same purpose. But that will be, that's just been finalized and will be released probably tomorrow. Good question. Thank
Okay,
you.
any other questions? Okay, do you need an approval on this? Or is this something that maybe we should approve when you get the half-days in? Should we do it like all at one time, or?
Well, half-days generally have not been, it has not been necessary for the school board to approve early dismissal days. It has
I
not
just
been
thought
done
that
in the
normally we
past.
have them all on the calendar
Right.
at one time, and
So
then we just approve the whole thing, so I
Well, we
didn't know
do
if that
have to
was.
have your approval as set for the learning days and the weather makeup days, because they are a part of the calendar. Early dismissal days are instructional things, so that in the past has never been a part of, it will be on the calendar certainly, but it has not been approved by the school board. Mr. Pye, did I explain that correctly?
Okay, so then I need an approval of the calendar with the e-learning days and the weather makeup days included.
Thank you.
Motion made by Ms. Crosby. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Wimberly. Any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Rayner.
Thank you.
Okay, next is, under new business, is SCSBA's nomination, and that is Ms. Robinson.
All the board members know that June is the month that the South Carolina School Board Association takes nominees into consideration for positions for the School Board Association. And as you know, we have been fortunate enough to have Gail serve on the executive committee for the last several years. And she will need to be nominated by us so that her name can go into the, this, I guess, however many names there are. I don't think there's any. I think they expect her to do it. But we do have to officially nominate her so that she can go to be nominated as the president-elect for the South Carolina School Board Association, and that has not happened in our district in a long time. So I just need to make a motion for someone to please nominate Gail Hughes for this position to throw into the hat. And then I will need a second. Thank you, Mr. Mitchum and Ms. Wimberly. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, we'll make it official tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all doing that. This has been a long road. I've been on there for how many years now? It's been a long road, but thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda is other business and correspondence, and I have an update on the NSBA's Federal Advocacy Convention. I attended that virtually last week, and It was, basically, this is the convention that we normally go to Washington at the end of February. Yeah, the end of February. And we visit our congressmen and that up there and just kind of advocate for our schools with the on the federal side of it, federal funding. And basically, we did the same thing this time. We just did it virtually. And SCSBA actually arranged a virtual conference we had about 9 or 10 of our delegates or their assistants in attendance. And we brought up some of the issues that we're having in the state of South Carolina. And I just kind of briefly want to go over just a few of those with you, just to let you know some of the things that we discussed. One of them was, of course, our teacher shortage. And we kind of just discussed about the fact that even though teacher shortages have been prevalent for a while now, with the pandemic, they've worsened quite a bit. We've had a major issue with teachers not wanting to come into the profession, as well as teachers leaving the profession because of the pandemic. So we just asked for different things for them to look at, and maybe looking at improving the training and supporting the teachers, boosting their diversity, teachers' diversity, and some of the funding that they gave us, or they're giving us $9 billion to address some of the shortages. And those are some of the areas that they're talking about addressing them in. Strengthening teacher recruitment, preparation, in inductional provisions in the Higher Education Act. Just different things that we've asked for, different things for teachers that are going to benefit our teachers, and to help to recruit and retain teachers. Also, something that we talk about every time we go is fully funding IDEA. 1975, the act was first passed. They promised in 1975 to fund us, as they call it, fully fund it, at 40%. They've yet to fund it at 40%. They're still at 13%, which is less than $2,000 per student. So we, again, have asked for them to go back and look at that, reevaluate that. We need them to help us, even if we could just get them to what they call fully fund at 40%, would be a big help. School infrastructure, we asked them to reopen and Rebuild American Schools Act, because in the pandemic, there's so many other things that we're having to deal with and spend our money on, and districts such as ourselves that are low on tax revenue, we have an issue with building our schools. So if they do that act actually allows us to build schools now, gives us money to build schools now and pay along to build these schools. So we asked them to reopen that act, also talk to them about the broadband expansions, and also public funds for public schools. So just asking them to make sure they keep all of these things on their radar. We did send a copy to all of this to them before we met with them, so they have it. They were very welcoming to talk to us and had very good conversation. I actually think this was a really good way to do it, because we had everybody in the room at the same time, instead of normally we have to go visit each one of them, and it's just a little bit easier to push back and get out of the room without making any commitments if you're the only one in the room. But if you got a group, it makes it a little bit harder. So I think this was a really good way to do it, but it was a very, very good, very informative convention, in my opinion. So just wanted to kind of update you on that. So next thing on the agenda then is public comments, teacher forum update. We do not have a teacher forum update, but we do have some public comments. Oh, we do? Oh, I didn't think she was here. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Pye. It's my pleasure again to be able to speak to you on behalf of the Teacher Forum this evening. As we put the finishing touches on this transformative school year, this group is excited to be able to share some positive news and information with you. So as part of our DD2 Teacher Forum Education Scholarship Committee, we raised approximately $6,400 this year.
I am going to deviate just a second. Ashley Ridge raised a third of that, so I was very proud of our efforts there. So these donations were made possible by our amazing and incredibly generous faculty and staff at each of the district's 26 schools. A senior from each of the 3 high schools was awarded a $1,000 scholarship to go towards her studies and education. And our recipients were Carly Stinson from Ashley Ridge High School, Taylor Hoffman from Fort Dorchester High School, and Abigail Vining from Somerville High School. Each of these recipients expressed a strong desire to build an inclusive classroom culture that accentuates not only the academic needs of their learners, but also the very fundamental emotional needs of their learners. And a master teacher understands that before the nuts and the bolts of the lesson can be communicated, learners must feel safe in their environment, and these ladies endeavor to do just that. As a group, we are so proud of these 3 recipients' accomplishments and the promise of what's to come for them, and hopefully they'll come back to this district and provide that support to our students. We also wish to support our educators. As you may know, the Martha Rosebrock Scholarship for Teachers has ended. And so to help our current DD2 teachers pursue their own educational goals, we would like to establish the DD2 Teacher Forum Education Scholarship for Teachers. And this opportunity would be made available to all teachers who have been part of the DD2 family for a minimum of 3 years and who have a desire to continue their education in an advanced degree program. There would be 1 recipient at each level, elementary, middle, and high, to make sure that we are representing each of those groups' needs. It's our hope that as a district, we will continue to support our educators who work tirelessly to create the best possible outcome for our students. As we move into our summer planning, the Teacher Forum plans to welcome our new hires as well as support our returning teachers. And many of our Teacher Forum members will serve as mentors at the school level. We also have plans to host events that will immerse our new teachers who are also new to the South Carolina and Somerville area into the culture that is the Dorchester District 2 family. And we hope to be able to create a supportive network for them not only at the school level, but also within their community. Ms. Hughes, it's interesting that you brought up supporting our current teachers. So one of the things that we've highlighted is we would like to institute a buddy teacher program, and that would be for our veteran teachers. To say that the challenges of this past year have been unique would be a gross understatement. As a Teacher Forum, we would like to identify and reach out to our veteran teachers who may need to reignite their passion for teaching and learning. So we plan to build a buddy teacher program to provide support and a listening ear for those teachers who have contributed in innumerable ways to our school. Finally, I would like to highlight for you one of our own members, Reagan Sullivan. She is extremely humble. Reagan is a teacher at Reeves Elementary School, and she recently wrote a book that was illustrated by another district teacher, Abby Clark, at Austin Bailey Elementary School. The name of the book is Mrs. Sullivan Sees. This story depicts the journey of monster students who embody the hardships that all of our students have, their struggles, their fears, and their worries. And through the inspiration of a teacher, Ms. Sullivan, each of these students begins to see their true self-value. When Reagan shared this with us at our last meeting, several eyes in the room teared up, because this is the reason we teach. This is the reason for all of our gray hairs and our deep wrinkles. We see in our students their own value, and it's our job as teachers to provide a mirror that reflects their own self-worth. And so we would just like to continue in that spirit as a Teacher Forum group. As always, it's an honor to speak before you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, and next we have public comments. And the first public comment I have, and I cannot, can you make up the name? John Ciccione, is that how you?
Did we butcher it? Yeah, we slightly butchered, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
I'd like to thank you all for an opportunity, and
the great summer programs you're putting together. But I have one concern. I'd like to know where I can find the curriculum for the reading. As I've seen some other reading things on the website that challenge and I don't agree with. So I'd like to know if we have that, because that's gonna depend on if a lot of people put their students in. I know if I'm gonna put my daughter in, I don't wanna read them books that are on your website. They contradict my beliefs and my teachings to my daughter. And you can look at them on your website. I looked at them last week, checked them out, and kind of goes towards the CRT. And I know it's a touchy issue with people, but I'd like to know that curriculum where I could find it.
I'm just frowning because we're not supposed to be speaking, but I'm just concerned. I hope my staff is listening. I was under the impression that we were not supplying any readings this summer, period.
They're on your website. They're on Dorchester too, the gate and all that. It's all listed there.
We decided we probably would not do that.
Then they should probably, I mean, sure, then it should probably be taken off, but it's definitely there. I mean, I looked at it because I was trying to research what my daughter was reading and stuff, and I found fourth and all the gate programs in the middle school, and it's on there. So I would just want to know where I could find that information.
I will check that out. I'm sorry that that was not supposed to be on there.
Okay.
At least I did not know anything about it. We'll have that with you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Christine Childers.
Hi, good evening. Thank you again for having me. I'm here on behalf of my brother, Ken Greenstreet. When asked what he thought about people in the United States who supported socialism, a Venezuelan migrant stated, quote, "Then they shouldn't be in the United States, plain and simple. If they support socialism and want to be in the U.S., that should not be the case. They shouldn't be there because it would be better for them to be in a socialist country so they can see for themselves. It is easy to talk about socialism when you're in the United States. No, go live under socialism," end quote. Ronald Reagan stated, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Why is this quote true? Have you ever been a parent? Children have to be taught everything, and a true love of America and freedom is no different. Hitler stated, "Whoever has the youth has the future." The LGBTQ community knows this very well. Look at the elementary classes around the country. Drag queens in kindergarten? It's not by accident. Let me restate a communist goal against America from the 1950s. Get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of the teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. Just to the north of us in North Carolina, the Durham Association of Educators, in the name of COVID and the kids, has made statements on rent, mortgage, universal health care, and direct income support regardless of immigration status. Do you soften the curriculum? Well, for starters, don't teach American history. No. How do you soften the curriculum? Well, for starters, don't teach American history. I've already told you that constitutional studies are almost non-existent. Most recently, we celebrated Memorial Day. Did you enjoy the long weekend, as the Vice President stated? Or did you take a moment to think about those who paid the ultimate price to keep light of freedom alive in America? I can tell you that for the teachers of at least 2 students at Ashley Ridge High School, it was just a long weekend. July 6th, the 77th anniversary of D-Day. Not a word. Not even a word from the President of the United States. But then again, he probably forgot. Look around America. Patriotism is waning. Socialist leanings are increasing. Like teaching a child about personal hygiene, it has to start early and continue through high school education. So it is with freedom. You are the school board. You can do something about it. Let me just not rephrase, but say it one more time. Hitler stated, "Whoever has the youth has the future." Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer Christmas. She not here? Jennifer Christmas? Well, considering her topic, maybe we answered her question. Oh, okay. Linda Douglas?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Board, Mr. Pai. In 1966, I put on an Air Force uniform to go and defend my country. Guess what? I survived. In 2018, I put on a Team Dorchester uniform to bring our kids safely to and from home, to school, and to be there as an intermediate between the teachers and the family. Guess what? We did it. Then in March of 2020, everything changed. We all were faced with a new unknown battle. Many teachers, bus drivers, monitors, adult support, and aides quit. A plan you set in place to get our students back to school was put in place. Many of us answered the call. Many did not. When we answered the call, drivers and monitors were given additional duties. We met the call. Many times we went above and beyond what you wanted us to do to ensure the safety of our students as well as our families. But we did it. I'm proud to say on my routes that I did not have one child get sick. I'm very proud of that. I educated my children on my bus. I call them my kids. We fought it together. We discussed it. We set the plan. We worked it. We, as bus drivers and monitors, we ran extra routes. Sometimes we did 3 and 4 different routes in a day. We had some drivers that were running double elementary, double middle school, double high schools, double vocational. Wherever we were needed, we met the call. We put on the uniform. We served our community. Now we are asking that we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. But a lot of the teachers and the aides and the drivers are not returning. Yes, we are getting some new drivers, but our workload is the same. So we're not asking to be millionaires. We're just asking that you provide us with a living wage. Some of us are here at the school for 10 to 12 hours working. I live an hour away and I drive in every day to make sure I'm here early if a driver should come out so that I can fill that route, so the children are as close as can be to on time. We made it. We worked as a team. We made it. We're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I have to say that we made it through the 19, 20, 21 year together. And I'm sure all of us drivers and monitors, we know that we're going to have a more successful year in 21, 22. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Mitchum?
Good evening. As the school year dwindles down, I felt it was my responsibility as a junior at Somerville High School to share my academic experience during this pandemic. Not all student stories are horror stories. In full disclosure, I have thrived this year thanks to my school environment. To begin, I would like to commend the board for placing not only the students, but our staff's safety over all else. To the teachers, I sincerely cannot thank you enough for your unfaltering devotion to us students. This school year, my teachers have impacted my life in more positive ways than I can begin to express. I thank each and every one of you for supporting us students, whether it be through a mask or through plexiglass or through a screen. Because at the end of the day, your students were cared for, no matter the means. I would not be half the person I am today without the love of all you teachers out there. None of us would be. To my fellow students, I appreciate your patience and resilience during this most frightening year. Now, we've made it to the finish line. And perhaps we still don't know how to join a Microsoft Teams meeting, but that's all right. Lucky for us, we've got incredible teachers and leaders walking beside us each step of the unforeseeable way. If 2020 has taught us anything at all, let it have taught us to be kind and to put the safety of those we love above our own discomfort. As Henry James put it, 3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind, the second is to be kind, and the third is to be kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jason Brockart.
Good evening, Madam Chair, DD2 Board, Mr. Pye. We're almost there, right? We have 1.5 days of the school year left for our students. Obviously, the faculty working very hard has a little bit more, and we all appreciate that. I'd like to say that before this year, my wife and I have been active in both our kids' schools. We've never really had to come up and speak at the district level. We all know that this year has been quite exceptional on multiple rounds. So overwhelmingly, I've been up here talking about respect and civility. Obviously, tonight's board meeting has gone much more normal, and we do appreciate that. Opinions are very valuable, and you need to hear all of the opinions. And what we get when people come in and when they send you emails is you get the opinions of the people that were bothered enough to show up. Now, not everybody has the time to show up. Sometimes people have to set things aside to show up. But everybody's opinion matters, whether or not they have the time and availability to stand up here and say something. So soliciting feedback, actively soliciting feedback is valuable. We just heard tonight about the ESSER plan survey that's going out. That sounds great. That sounds exactly what I was asking earlier this year about surveying the families about how they feel about the current situations rather than just listening to who can show up. So looking forward, it's been a year of a lot of extremes. The key is to be able to look back at what we've done and learn from it and get better for it. So a lot of the sentiment about how we have to get back to how things used to be, well, I'd like to get back to really close to how things used to be, all the good parts of how things used to be. But we've learned a lot about how things can be and how we can move forward with greater unity. We haven't seen as much of that this year that I'd like, and I believe that we can see more. For that, we need to actually engage everybody that we can. One of the things that I've been asking for in the sake of transparency, and I may just not be able to find it adequately, but the amount of talented teachers, the educators that we've lost this year, for whatever their reasons were, that would still be at DD2 next year, were it not for whatever happened this year. That's the kind of things that should be transparent to our district. So the year's been held together by a thread. As we move forward, we need to look at some of the missed opportunities and try to capitalize on those opportunities and really make it better rather than try to stay afloat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brockart. Okay, that is all of our public comments. Now, board members, I need a motion to go into executive session for legal advice regarding night construction. Oh. Yeah, I don't know who is it?
This evening, we would like to thank our board, our superintendent, our teachers, our parents. Happy Juneteenth month.
Right.
And we have here 2 proclamations that we'd like to present to the board of directors of Dorchester District 2. And we have a book written by a parent and her children from Dorchester District 2. While we were in quarantine with our family members, we were afraid. This family was working on
Mr. Hearn.
And this is from the town of Somerville. Mayor Warren, okay? All right, so that's it. And you see the
Thank you.
original copy. This is the old-fashioned one that fit Mr. Pye and myself, but this is for the students that have computers. They have sheepskins, they can fancy.
This is a booklet me and my children did. They wrote, I don't want to say what school, just for their safety or whatever, because I know some people. But we did this together. We did an illustration, and all three of them go to a District 2 school. So I wanted to present
Well,
that.
thank you so much.
It
Thank
is
you.
very educational, so I'm not sure if you guys want to like review it. I know someone's reviewing it currently.
We normally review anything like that, just put out, make sure it's put this out there on staff. But thank you, we will certainly look at that.
Thank you very much.
Including this in on the list.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, girls.
We couldn't understand what was happening, that's what I'm saying, when we had someone get upset back there, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I have a card for Kelly Bates. She left? Okay. Okay. All right, now, board members, I need a motion to go into executive session for legal advice regarding McKnight Construction versus DD2, legal advice on a contractual matter regarding a water tower at the Stadium Park.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Mr. Farnsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0, and we will be returning back into open session afters. Okay, I need a motion to go into open session.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Do I have a second? Ms. Crosby, any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, I will entertain a motion out of our executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we allow or accept the proposal for the Somerville High School logo to be used on the water tower nearest the Somerville High School Stadium project.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. And I think that's going to do it for us. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, second by Mr. Farnsworth. All in favor? 7-0. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.